Hey, what's up, guys? So, of course, we've got Lucky Wheel. We're gonna go ahead and just kind of fire off some gems here, and we'll see what we get. So, far we're not doing bad, but we're not doing great. Not any fives yet, anyway. Oh, there's a five. There's another five. We're getting somewhere. 90 out of 100, 100 out of 120, 110, and we're like out. Oh boy. Well, that's alright, I guess. Not like the worst way to go. Still got a lot of shards out of it anyway. It'd be nice to get that little extra though. Let's see if we might have. Yeah, there's like another 3,000. We might be able. Well, of course, that's the beauty of this game. We got our 82 of those, but I think, yeah. Oh, okay, we got like another five, but there we got our total maximum shards for Bradley. And as you guys all know, whenever you got a new hero, this one just happens to be a marksman, so I'm going all in on him. The main selling point for this guy, and of course, you know, like any hero you get, right? Let's real quick. Obviously, anytime you decide to splurge in any major amount, right, you kind of have to have an idea of what hero you're going to splurge on. For me, it's always been splurging on the actual, like when the opportunity arises, anyway, to make sure to grab. Of course, we got an Alliance Championship we got to register for, so we're going to make sure we do that. We've only got four. Well, not a ton of time to do this. Now, of course, here I always like to go with my methodology of this. I strongly don't agree with the entire mantra of equalizing it, right? You could, but I don't think you should. And of course, you want to have the maximum tier possible. You can see I've got some tier 6. So I've got, a little bit, well, not tier 6, tier 10, but I've got Fire Crystal 6. Now, of course, you can also activate some extra bonuses on top of this if you want to give yourself, like, just a little bit of an edge. But again, is it going to win every battle? Maybe not, But in this case, we'll go with that. You can always go even if you want to. That's an option as well. But, in any case, right? So, with that in mind, okay. Of course, within the deals tab, you always want to grab your extra gems a day, even though that brought us to 5K. And yes, there is the option to grab Edith, which, if you're wondering, which hero should I get, is really going to be dependent on what you're doing at the time, right? But, like in my case, I'm going to grab Bradley. The more expensive option is getting Gordon, which, again, any of these are going to be better than the previous gen by a long line of heroes in the game. And I would say Edith is, probably not a bad pick here, but I've got Bradley. Now, the one thing that you always want to pay attention to before you just go on a massive upgrade spree is knowing where you are in the listing. So, like, right now, I know monsters are tomorrow, and then after that, training troops, and then construction and what have you. So, there's actually no advantage, really, even though, yes, you can get your hero shards upgraded and what have you. Having gotten this already and gotten the sunflower tokens, there's no reason to, like, overboard this, really. I mean, yeah, you can do it, but why? For what reason? Like, there's no reason. So I'm not going to upgrade Bradley right away. There's no reason to. Of course, Flame and Fang is going on, so we'll make sure to do that. But overall, right, the main trend here that you want to keep in mind with is knowing where you are and what you are going to ultimately have. Now, being that you need to have, like, a certain number of shards, okay? So, like, in the case of somebody like Bradley, okay, you notice I've got 178 shards there. I can dump the remaining that I have, and that's going to bring me up to 349. That means in order for this guy to get really anywhere close to 4 or 5 stars, I'm going to need another 200 or so shards, and that's going to take time. Now, As far as his actual gear is concerned, he has the Thunder Cannon. Now, you may be thinking, yes, and then of course he has all these other skills for damage up on both Lancers and Infantry. He's got some damage up dealt. There's basically a lot of things for Bradley that are going to come in handy. Now, if you look at him from a core stat perspective, right, there's also this that I like to point out to people all the time is if you want an idea of like, well, how does he work in PvP, PvE, and so on, you want to check this out because this is what's going to tell you what his maximum stats are and what to expect going into it. Like, I know 650 is what he's going to be able to offer into a battle situation. And then to add that on top, you also want to pay attention to these exploration skills. So he has Area of Effect, which any Area of Effect hero typically inside of Arena is usually pretty advantageous. He's also got Area Effect Damage that stacks a little bit here, so that's kind of interesting. And then he's got Audacious, which increases his attack by 10%. So, I mean, really, in general, it's probably safe to assume this guy's going to be a powerhouse. Even if you're not even liking, say, like Lyn after a couple of upgrades, you've got something to look forward to. Now, again, the one thing that everybody always likes to look at is the exclusive gear. And if you're wanting to grab access to these, I mean, really think about what it is that you're going to gain from it. If you don't know, then one place I recommend you check is the Whiteout Survival Discord. Just look up the hero, and it'll tell you. More often than not, people will have that information readily available to you. So all you have to do is just go to the Whiteout Survival Discord, and you can find out what exactly is available for that hero if you decide that, hey, I also want to be a rally lead, and I want these extra perks that come along with it. Now, beyond that, I mean, really, for the most part, that's just what I wanted to show you guys today. Is I got Bradley, I've got all the said items that I want. I still have a stupid amount of stamina, and I'm still building up a stupid amount of essence. So I'm kind of just powerhousing through a lot of stuff and not getting a whole lot in any one direction done. But I can tell you the big thing here is saving. And of course, one of the things that people don't do but need to do is make sure you're doing your quests, especially like this event being one of the best events, period, to actually get fire crystals. Like, this is the best time to be getting fire crystals of all the events that go on in the game. This is one of the best ones for free-to-play. Like, you will not regret spending the few minutes of time that it's going to take you to just do this. There's so many fire crystals that you can get during this that it's ridiculous. Like, it really does make a night and day difference between the people that do this and the ones that don't. And it's not very difficult to do, and it's relatively easy to achieve. And you can basically roundhouse robin through these. Like, you don't even have to. In the past, you used to have to sit there and watch that. Now you don't even have to do that. You just click, tap, and done. You got overwhelming power, and you're done. Like, it's really, really easy to really wipe through a bunch of intel missions relatively quickly. But again, like to anybody's suggestion, I would say that one of the only pet peeves that I have in what I would describe as mistakes that I see people make, right, is a lot of people will invest into the heroes themselves. Like, they'll buy up the upgrades and the shards, and then they don't work on the gear. And one of the biggest advantages that you have in this game is actually the hero gear. Now, I've had some people that are like, well, what exactly are you talking about? Like, are you talking about the chief gear, or are you talking about the individual hero gear? What value does the hero gear have in relation to, like, chief gear? And how do I know whether I've, if I'm doing things right? Now, for a while, okay, in my tips videos, I would always tell you, have 3 sets of gear and just do that. In other words, you would have 1 set for infantry, 1 for marksmen, and 1 for lancers, and therefore you would have the best possible set at all times. I'm actually now starting to look at that advice as though it was good at the time and it made sense at the time, but it doesn't really make sense anymore. It used to, but now it's like the emphasis on that is not near as important as it used to be. Like, rather than just go through and just like start mastery forging your gear and having multiple sets, I'm actually leaning towards, like, you really probably ought to think about, like, what's the long game going to be? Are you planning on, like, doing Labyrinth and being successful in Arena? Then chances are you're going to need more than 1 set, which means you're going to need to think about, well, I don't want that epic piece. I want a legendary piece. And then eventually I'm going to need Mithril. And you got to be able to have all these extra pieces of gear to be able to achieve anywhere near those kind of results. And so with that in mind, you need to have not just 3 sets anymore. I mean, you really need about almost 9 sets to be really efficient. So to start, I think being as open-minded as you can be is really about all you can ask for. Now, one of the things that's nice about Drill Camp is that, you don't have to expunge a stupid amount of XP if you don't want to. You just need to have a couple of these slots open, and then you can just, at any given time, hey, I want to use this hero, jump it straight to 80. And you don't even have to worry about the expenditure of the experience, and it brings it all the way up to the troop capacity. It does all the 9 yards for you, which is nice and handy, because now you're going to get the most amount possible for the hero, and you don't have to necessarily be super worried about anything else in particular. Of course, to get the most bang for your buck, though, you got to upgrade their star level and everything that comes along with that. But again, like anything, guys, that is pretty much the critical stuff that I would say that you need to worry about. And, I mean, other than that, yeah, you got gathering jobs that you can do. I would say really about the only thing that I'm looking forward to right now with everything else that's going on, right? Because you got Flamin' Fangs, you got Crazy Joe, Bear Hunt. There's a lot of different stuff coming down the pipe, especially with State of Power right around the corner. I would say if you want to be the most efficient, then you probably have already, picked up on the Christmas gift event and got the most that you could get out of this. And, of course, you could have gone through and gathered for it, hunted, used speed ups, and get all the loot that you can get out of the Skyfall gifts. And I thought, well, okay, wherever you are in the game, you might as well have already gotten these as much as you could. And then, of course, like me, I'm like, well, time to open them all. So I've been saving my chests. I've got all of my Lucky Hero chests and everything, but most importantly, I've been saving all of my other items, because what I'm going to ultimately do is I'm going to turn around and use all of those items at some point, but I'm trying to make the most of what I have when I have it. So I've got, tons and tons and tons of different skins, and I haven't burned any of them. So I'll have them when I'm ready to use them. But for today, we're going to go ahead and open up all the Skyfall gifts for fun. And as you can see, it looks like we got a whole assortment of different loot there, but hey, not bad. And again, if you ever want to, maximize these, right? You've only got a couple of hours left in the day, so make sure you're doing that, and make sure you get the most that you can while you can get it. In any case, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.